I mean, we're living in an open world and very transparent world. The question would be what to filter in this world. I mean, should there be filters? Would you recommend for startups to filter information?
The company side. I'll let you guys start this one.
Filter in what way?
I mean, in terms of, yeah, we have already mentioned this bad customer feedback, and you don't want to have that maybe on the side. Should you have it on the side? Where do you start filtering this information?
And also
or this
what to
customer
filter about, like, for instance, it's not always so interesting for us to find out what you had for lunch or about your personal relationships, that kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
There's no legalese yet.
And
You're a startup.
and how much of the guts of your company do you kind of spill? I think is the way I
Yes,
look at that. I mean, what do you keep behind closed doors, and what do you sort of let out? At the same time, trying to be honest about everything, right? Because if you are in a financial services software or something like that, and you've got a blog and the company's going to hell, is a major issue, you're not going to release that on your blog, even though it might be the most honest thing to say.
Yeah.
Because your customers aren't going to obviously react to that very well. So you have to have this notion of control about the image that you have or about what you let out there. At the same time, being honest. I think can be a tough one to juggle sometimes for startups.
And there's something beautiful about it where it's like, the more the more you share, the more you can get away with hiding. So,
right.
If you just have this reputation as a very open person, open company, then I mean, people are going to trust what you put out there, and they're not going to be as quick to try to dig for more and undermine that.
Yeah.
The thing is that with social media, one thing that's we're finding now and is splashed on the front page of all the newspapers are the terrible stories of sharing too much, especially on the consumer side.
Yeah.
And you want to think about certain things you want to let your customers in on. You want to talk about developments. You may even want to inject your personality, but you also want to leave some things at the office, because that digital trail is forever. And that guy that was at another startup that was really great for a while, all of a sudden that partnership fizzled, and ergo so did your romance. Best not to be blogging about that. And I'm not being catty there. These kind of things have happened, and and sometimes it works to talk about them. A lot of times it doesn't.
And just to put a positive spin on everything, because of the very reason you just mentioned, that it's there forever. So, if a mistake was made,
people are cruel and
if a mistake was made, don't blog about it until you fixed it or in the process of fixing it. Yeah. And then so there's a positive spin. Here's this problem, but here's what we're doing to fix it. So that when people Google it, that's not what they come up with. Oh, big problem, and don't know what to do.
Anything you're apprehensive about, wait 3 months. You can always reflect back on lessons learned and share that with your audience. I really just need that kind of distance. But it's so hard. On the one hand, we have these big corporations, and the amount of the tones that their communication departments are going through, it's literally all they can blog is saying, we have a blog. That's allowed. That's it. Don't even put your name out there. Next to a startup that has such freedom, which is a beautiful thing. It's how do you find that midnight? A lot of it's gut, and a lot of it's going to be some common sense.
And I think there's a really good example with Dell, where so they were really late to the game in terms of both listening and then responding, and so there were some very vocal people who were trashing their products and coming up well in the search results for them. They had laptops go up in flames.
It was known as Dell Hell. I mean, the debacle actually had a name and everything.
And started with customer service and then devolved into product issues. Now, Dell sat on the sidelines way too long for their own good, but when they started participating, they were very honest about it. They acknowledged the elephant in the room, and
they showed the burning laptop on their site. They were very honest about it.
It was huge, and they went and really started embracing this, and they had these personalities. It didn't feel like they had a bunch of lawyers reading every post. And so
I even left a negative comment on a thread, and they were so, not negative like I didn't say awful, savage things. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna have a hard time trusting this product, and this is why. And they came back saying, absolutely, and believe me, I'm sure they had to say this a zillion times. They said, this is what we're doing, and if you have any more questions, and I felt like, you know what, they really took that on the chin, they gave me a common sense answer, they diffused the situation, kind of like I would tell my client to do, but I was the angry person at that point. And they also created that co-creation site where they're asking their audience for ideas on how can we do better? What's a good idea for a new laptop, for a new program, for a new delivery system? And then they're, go ahead.
Right. No, and some of them have tens of thousands of people voting and commenting
And they'll
on
vote
them.
and rank the ideas for merit.
Right, and realizing that if those people are there, it's because there's still a hope. In other words, if I had completely given up on Dell, I just bother. But if I'm giving them comments and advice, it means there's still a chance you can win me back. Unless
10
I'm
years
really,
ago, you would have never won me back. Now, I'm open. It's like psychology. I'm open. You know, that's a big difference. And that's a big win for them because social media allowed it to be transparent enough for people to get angry enough to say, oh, there will be change and there will be boycotts and there will be a bad name about it. So kudos to Dell on that.
and that sort of spirals, and people who don't participate in it hear about it. You know, it sort of gets out there that, oh, you know, even if the manager's like, Dell is working to try and fix their problems. They've been listening. You know, they've been improving their engineering. They've just been doing stuff. It sort of filters all the way up to people who've never even heard of social media, been on a computer. And that's sort of the beauty of it, is that it doesn't just hit the 150,000 people, whoever, who might have visited the site. It's exponential.
And they've used, you know, their traditional PR, and you know, the traditional doesn't go away. It's, you know, there's social media and traditional, they work together. They've used their traditional PR, they've used some advertising, but they put a lot more into, hey, if we're going to listen to our customers, we might start talking with them and actually listening to them. And they're proving that. So it's actually becoming quite a success story for them.
Yeah.
Because they could have gone ahead and just honestly renamed the company and shut it down. Because it was so hard for them. But they didn't, you know, so I want to give them credit there. I'm sure there's a long way to go still, but there has been.